Welcome to Studio 21. For the next minutes, we'll be talking with one of the instructors at Tulsa Community College. And in the months and years to come, we'll be doing more and more profiles of instructors, individuals that you may be able to take a class from, or your children may be able to take a class from. And the first person we'll be talking to is Peña, who is an associate professor here at Tulsa Community College. A lot of people are familiar with you because they see you on the Spanish language program that airs on 21. Tell me a little bit about your background. When did you come to the United States?
I came in 1980 from Lima, Peru. And I've been here for 29 years already. So now you know my age. But I came to Tulsa. Tulsa was in my heart, and I decided to stay here, make this my home, and now I'm an American citizen.
Well, you were the first member of your family to come to the United States. What were the toughest parts of those first months and years?
Yes, it was very hard to leave them behind because this was in the midst of terrorism in my country. The Shining Path, I'm sure that you've heard of the Shining Path and all the horrible things that they did in Peru back in 1980. And so it was difficult for me to move. But after I became an American citizen, I petitioned for my dad and my mother, and they moved here to Tulsa.
And then brothers and sisters as well.
Right.
But it must have been difficult. What kind of language skills did you have when you reached Tulsa, Oklahoma? What did you have to do to make this your home, to make a life, to make a career?
Exactly, yes. It was very difficult because I had learned British English in Peru. That's what they used to teach there in Lima. And upon arriving to Tulsa, I realized that I didn't speak English. So I had to relearn, go ahead and take classes, and of course I wanted a better education, and I decided to enroll at TCC at that time. So that was what kept me strong, learning the language, and I decided to enroll in a program that TCC had on travel and tourism. So that kept me busy. But yes, it was very, very difficult to live here without my family and the culture. And back in the 80s, we didn't have an influx of Hispanics here in Tulsa. So I had very, very few friends.
Now, you lived the American dream. I mean, immigrant coming to this country, getting an education, learning the language. How has that helped you as an instructor in terms of helping people understand that difference in communication that happens when we speak different languages? Right.
I had to learn English to survive and to work in this country. I know many students take the language because they need to take it, others because they've been abroad and they are enamored with the language and they want to learn it. So when teaching the skills, I told the students that they don't have to go abroad anymore. They can practice their Spanish here, but I teach the skills of speaking, listening, reading, and writing, which are very, very difficult to master if you don't practice it daily. So that's why I spend a lot of time with the students explaining to them that practicing makes perfect. Practicing another language daily is very, very important, and I'm there for that access.
It seems to me that you bring really two things as an instructor, as an associate professor, and that's obviously the language skills, but with the language skills, understanding the culture.
Yes, thank you. I do make fun of the things that I used to, I had a few faux pas when I arrived to this country, and in terms of trying to compare those cultural faux pas, I teach that. And for example, there was a time where my first class at TCC back then, we're waiting for the teacher, and when the teacher came in, I stood up. And no one else did. And because that's the thing to do in Peru when a teacher comes in. It doesn't matter what age you were. I was accustomed to, when the teacher came in, you stood up and paid attention to the teacher. So that was one of the very many that I've had, So I teach the culture, and I teach a lot of comparisons and some of the good things that we have in the 21 Spanish-speaking countries.
We have 14 different foreign languages that TCC offers instruction in. In terms of Spanish, what can a student expect after taking a number of courses at TCC?
Right. We have two kinds of students. We have those students who only take 3-hour classes for a program, or 12 hours, or the international business students do take a whole lot of classes from Spanish 1 through 4. Sometimes they go on to intermediate 1 and 2, and since they are so close to a certificate, we go ahead and prompt them to take a certificate. So they practice and use their Spanish at the workplace.
Now,
many times.
Apologize for interrupting, but if they take a number of courses in Spanish here, can they take that and go to an OSU and OU and be a Spanish major?
Yes, and we have a number of them who have actually transferred to a 4-year university and majored in Spanish. They use it at the workplace, and anymore most of the businesses are trying to concentrate on the Hispanic market. So a lot of students use those skills to translate for billboards, voiceovers, their Spanish language that they acquire at TCC is quite helpful, and I do have quite a few testimonies of those students.
Now that's an issue, really. Our whole way of doing business worldwide is changing, and there's got to be language skills in order to be able to do business these days.
Right, not just language but culture too, but the language that we teach, we sort of customize it to the different fields that the student may be going into. For example, the medical profession. Any health provider that is accredited by the Joint Commission knows that they need to provide an interpreter. And so at TCC, we're trying to create those resources for that specific need. Right now, we're offering certificates on interpreting for the medical profession, for court, translating skills, and a certificate in addition to an associate in Spanish. But yes, the students are using their Spanish, especially if they take it from TCC.
Now, one of the things that over the years that TCC focused on was having instructors that were native speakers. What's the advantage of that native speaker teaching that foreign language?
Right. No offense to my American Spanish speakers, but native speakers bring a lot to the table. They could when I guess talking about an expression, an idiomatic expression. If you have lived in the country, you know that culture, you will be able to go ahead and translate and say, well, in Mexico we say this, and in other countries, this may mean something,
Well, there's different types of Spanish too. I mean, I'm not a native Spanish speaker, but I can hear the accent difference from somebody from, let's say, Peru and another Spanish-speaking country.
Argentina. Right. The accents may be different, but the grammar is the same. We have what's called the Royal Academy of Spain. They are like the regents of the language. They kept the grammar together, the orthography too. We don't have a problem like in English, color with O-U-R, or in the United States, O-R. We don't have that problem, but we do have regionalisms. And that is why the native speaker has that advantage, because the native speaker has lived in those countries.
And just to talk about this a little bit, TCC does have speakers who are native English speakers who've high proficiency in Spanish and some other languages.
Yes.
So you have the diversity there,
right,
that the instructor can, the student can see. If you had a chance to talk to a prospective student, or the parent of a prospective student, or an adult who wants to go back and get those language skills, what would you tell them about TCC and the foreign language opportunities?
Right. At TCC, we are nationally recognized for all those 14 languages that you mentioned. We all strive for excellence. We have one college theme and one college thought of teaching foreign language. We advocate for speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And I can tell you that in the Spanish department, we have very well, highly trained instructors. And like you said, there is such a diversity, which we applaud at TCC, because we don't just hire Peruvians or those who are American or near-native. We try to hire instructors from all the 21 Spanish-speaking countries, but it's hard to find somebody from Malabo, which is one of the capital of Equatorial Guinea, which is a Spanish-speaking country. It's hard to find one, but we hope we do soon.
Well, Tina Peña, thank you so much for visiting with us, and it's just amazing when you realize what's out there. 14 different foreign languages taught at a community college, nationally recognized language program, and you're a big part of it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.